Despite an excellent Sonic game having already come out this year developed by its fan community, Sega and Sonic Team have decided to release their own attempt with Sonic Forces. Utilising both its history and modern sensibilities, Sonic Forces hopes to be a game that captures the essence of the franchise but also offering a fun and different take on previous Sonic titles. Although Sonic Forces does polish up previous issues and implements some great new features, it can't help but feel like it's running on the same old track with just smaller hurdles to slow it down. Join the Uprising has been the tagline for this game, as the story was set to take a darker spin on the Sonic franchise with the formation of a new villain called Infinite. Rather than simply being stopped at the last second, Dr. Eggman, with the assistance of Infinite and his ability to summon previous villains, actually succeeds and manages to defeat Sonic, taking over the world. At this point, Sonic and his friends, plus the newly added customizable character, must fight back and restore order. As cheesy and often cringeworthy the dialogue can be, I found the narrative serviceable for the adventure, if not perhaps underutilised. The potential of revisiting classic Sonic stages now completely overrun with Dr. Eggman's influence would have been an intriguing experience, but only a few returning zones are featured in this game to showcase this idea. In general, locations visited are entertaining, offering plenty of visual spectacle to enjoy as you speed past them. Opposed to past games, rather than simply staying in the same location and moving on, Sonic Forces has you visiting new environments before returning later with other characters. This change of form was mostly an unsuccessful one, as it often made the levels when you return feel more repetitive and less exciting than when speeding through different stages. The overall scope of the game just felt smaller than previous series entries, which seemed odd considering the global crisis setup in the story. Additionally, the implementation of 3 separate playable characters caused revisiting areas to happen more than usual. Following from Sonic Generations, both modern Sonic and classic Sonic are featured, plus a brand new fully customizable character. This was a feature I expected to be merely a gimmick, but to my surprise was actually a well implemented and interesting addition. Several different options are available, such as being able to change your gender, hairstyle and clothes with your chosen character's animal species, granting different abilities such as being able to double jump or not lose all your rings upon getting hit. In terms of accessories and clothes, there's a practically endless amount, as you are awarded new items for doing basically everything in this game. I didn't expect to change my avatar much, but often cool new gear led me to switch up my appearance, and there's almost certainly something for everyone to enjoy quickly. Other than customizing your character's appearance, there are also different weapons to be used called Wispons, granting a variety of effects in combat. In general, combat is overly simplistic regardless of the weapon chosen, but they also grant traversal abilities such as dashing through rings or being able to fly briefly, adding some originality to how a path is travelled. With the exception of the Wispons and a grappling hook to quickly swing through areas, the custom character plays most of the same as modern Sonic. In terms of modern Sonic, his moveset is essentially unchanged from previous entries, with being able to perform homing attacks and quickly boost his way through enemies as he sprints through a level. Free DLC content featuring Shadow at launch is also available, granting the ability to play as him instead of Sonic for most levels, but his moveset is exactly the same. Some missions also have the avatar character joining Sonic, combining their abilities together, making some of the best levels featured in the game. The 3D stages for the most part are the best they've ever been by simplifying the track's obstacles and delivering responsive controls. Often it can feel as if you're simply on rails with the occasional direction to pick or move to perform, but it most certainly sells the sense of speed and prevents the feeling of being out of control that have plagued past Sonic games. The 2D platforming sections of modern Sonic levels do still feel a little awkward, though for the most part Sonic and your avatar's character's abilities mitigate some of that frustration. The modern levels by far take up the bulk of the game's runtime, with a very occasional 2D focused level where you play only as classic Sonic. These sections offer the most options of path to traverse, but just aren't as enjoyable as what can be found in old school Sonic games. Oddly, classic Sonic often feels very slow, so I found using the drop dash ability from Sonic Mania the best way to get Sonic's pace going, even if it often led to death. Death is nothing to be concerned about though, as there is practically no punishment at all for dying other than potentially not getting an S rank upon completion of a level. The levels are so short though, with barely any clocking over 2 minutes even on the first playthrough. This mission length is a big disappointment, and the game is definitely one of the shortest main Sonic experiences, but what is here at least enjoyable and doesn't suffer from performance issues or overstaying its welcome. The graphics and environments all look good when Sonic is running through them, although the cutscenes look very low quality and cheap overall. Most of the bosses were visually impressive and a blast to fight, though there is some confrontations that don't happen, which seems odd considering the villain set up in the narrative of the game. The game's accompanying music is a bit of a mixed bag, with only a few tracks being a standout, but for the most part the music is serviceable for the different levels, if not a disappointment for what's come in previous entries. Although overly short in terms of the main story, featured locations and levels, there is plenty of extra content to be enjoyed. A checklist of challenges are included that can involve getting S rank on a level or using a certain weapon a number of times, all of which grant a collection of avatar paths for everyone completed. SOS missions appear randomly, tasking you with trying a previous completed level with the criteria such as using a specific avatar or without dying, acting as a reasonable excuse to visit all levels periodically. Of course, Red Rings return, giving an incentive to replay levels and take all the alternative paths to find the 5 hidden in each stage. Bonus EX levels are unlocked for completing a certain amount that are focused on platforming challenges, so in general they aren't particularly compelling. Collecting all red rings in a stage unlocks the number rings, which must be found and collected in the correct order, although they're typically very easy to find and do. Finally, once you have done all that, Silver Moon rings appear in the stage, which, like the number rings, are only featured in a specific location and require the quick recovery of all pieces, but are never particularly challenging. I like the fact that there are a lot of reasons to play old stages using different weapons and taking new paths, though I wish there could have simply been more stages with longer lengths. Thankfully, it is also possible to turn off hints and dialogue options so you can just enjoy exploring old stages without having to be annoyed by the constant chatter of Sonic's friends. Sonic Forces is a game that manages to nail most of the best parts of modern Sonic games, although greatly simplifying them in the process by limiting path options. The key new feature of a customizable character is implemented quite well, and with the exception of some bland combat mechanics, are the best part about this game. I can't help but feel like this game wasn't fully realised though, with a very small average level playtime and not even Super Sonic being featured at launch, making it feel rushed. The ideas and gameplay improvements are a step in the right direction, and perhaps with more time and adjustments to the game's structure going forward, a truly excellent experience could be presented. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more gaming and geeky content.